Some 50 or 60 years ago, there lived this 10 years old little girl who lived in London in a very old house. She actually hated her house because it was cold and damp all of the time. Plus, none of her friends would visit because it was believed by everyone in the neighborhood that a ghost lived in that house. The little girl was very curious about the ghost, but nobody would talk to her when she asked questions about it or the history of the house. The house was scary and some nights were worse than others. On one normal night, when she was in her room doing her homework, the lamp suddenly went off. She figured that the light bulb must have died, but she did not want to bother her mother, who was already asleep, by asking for a new bulb. So she just put down her book and prepared herself to sleep. All of a sudden, there was a quiet knocking on the window which was next to her bed on the second floor. And then it happened. She saw a reflection of a boy which was about her own age reflected on the window's glass. The girl quickly turned and took a look in her room but saw nothing. She got out of her bed and went over the lamp. When walking towards the lamp, she felt something wet on the ground. She flicked on the lamp, which now worked, and saw a red stain where she was standing. Then all of a sudden the stain disappeared. It was not blood because the red was too bright, almost pink, like a paint or something. Then big scratches started to appear on the purple wall of her room. And believe it or not, behind the purple paint was pink, the same dark shade that had been on the floor. The girl ran out of the room in a panic and started running towards her parents' room. But then she saw something that made her open her mouth to scream, although no sound came out. The door was right above her staircase, really high up. Only her dad could reach it. Hanging from that door's handle was a noose, the thing they hung people on. A noose is a rope that is used to hang people to death. The girl ran back to her room and there was a body laying in her own bed. She quickly grabbed her phone to take a picture because she wanted a proof, as she wanted to confirm if she was dreaming or it was all real. She took a picture of the body in her bed and without even looking at it, ran to get her mother. Grumpily, her mother came upstairs and the girl pointed where the noose had been, but now the noose was not there anymore and there was just a piece of string from her mother's sewing kit. She led her mother up to her room to show her the child's body, but now there was nothing there. As her mother turned around to leave the room, the girl remembered about the photo that she took. So she grabbed her phone and turned it on, trying to show her mother the photo. But there was no photo of her bed in her phone. It was as if someone deleted it. Instead, there was a photo of a teenage boy with a red mark around his neck and pink paint all over his torn clothes. Her mother told her to stop joking around. However, her mother had an extremely worried look on her face, and when asked what was wrong, she said, "He is back, and our lives are going to be ruined once again." The little girl never saw the boy again, and her mother refused to tell who he was. But she noticed that in the following weeks and months to come, her parents were very stressed out and they called priests almost every day into the house. Only a few years later, she met the same boy once again with the same mark on his neck in her dream. This time, the boy looked happy and said goodbye to the little girl and whispered in her ears to run away from her parents or they'll do the same to her. A couple of months ago, my friend's cousin, who is actually a single mother raising her child on her own, brought a new cell phone for herself. After a long day at work, she came back home and placed her phone on the shelf of the kitchen and went to watch TV. Her little son came to her and asked if he could play games on her new phone, and of course she allowed. But she told her not to call anyone or mess with the text messages, and he agreed. At around 11:30 at night, she was a little drowsy, so she decided to tuck her son in and go to bed herself. She walked to his room and saw that he was not there, which was quite surprising for her because her son never leaves the house. She then ran to her own room to find him sleeping in her bed with the phone in his hand, which was relieving for her. She gave him a few kisses, and relieved, she picked up her phone back from his hand in order to inspect it. Browsing through the phone, she noticed only minor changes such as the new background, the banner, and etc. But then she opened the phone gallery. She began deleting all the useless pictures that he had taken until only one picture remained. When she first saw it, she was in disbelief. It was her son sleeping on her bed, but the picture was taken by someone else above him. And the picture also showed the left half of an elderly woman's face, which looked very dirty.